Hello, the YouTubes. As you can see, for starters, if you didn't tell by the last video I put up, I have taken the tripod down to the workshop so I can now do this hands-free. Second up, I had a bit of a disturbing message the other day from someone who bought horns off me several months ago, saying one of the horns they left in the sun, which you're not really supposed to do, you know, excess heat and all that, had imploded, which is a bit strange. I mean, I've never had that happen before. I mean, I've had a few things go wrong in the moulding process before, you know, mould getting twisted, crumpling up a bit like that, but, yeah, those ones are rejects, they go in the bin. But this one apparently had imploded after being left in the sun, and it got me a bit worried. You know, no one else has called about it, so it's a bit of a one-off, a bit of an extreme circumstance, maybe. So I thought, okay, best thing to do, I'll take some of the samples I've got, of all the different resins I've used, and maybe I'll stick them in the oven. You know, because, you know, find out what the most extreme temperature this stuff can go up to. I mean, okay, no one's going to be sticking their horns in the oven, but, you know, it's probably a good way to find out what the absolute maximum limits of the conditions these horns can be used in is. I mean, if you're going across the Sahara in a fursuit, we want to know things not going to melt. But I came down here and got my sample pots. I mean, what these pots are when I was experimenting with different resins and particularly the foam fillers to use in the ultralight horns, I managed to find 3 suppliers at a reasonable price that selling 3 different products, of course. 3 different types of foam, and I was going to compare them. So I put round about, close as I could get to 5 grams worth, mixed, not part, into these little pots. Maybe you'll see something's happened there. So here we have the one I started off with is the MBFG rigid resin. I got 5.2 grams there. And see, this is a bog standard little paper cup. So you can tell on film, I've got to keep this quick because I'll get around to that, but okay, that's 45mm from the top of the cup to the edge. It's probably not peak, but anyway. Right, the stuff from Tomps came to 50mm from the top of the cup, so a little bit smaller, but yeah, we'll get into that in a second. And the stuff from Tyranny, again 5 grams, is 80mm from the top of the cup, and you can tell that's much denser. That's the one I would only use in the really hard wearing horns, the ones you really need to take a beating, because it's twice the price and only expands half as much. So you know, you really don't get what you need from it. It is rock solid. That's like what they call it. It's a type of candy. Anyway. So smoked candy, no, I'm getting off on a tangent. But yeah, really didn't expand very much. Took a long time to set. Was not very convenient to use. So yeah, extreme circumstances only. Decided eventually to go with the MBFG foam resin because it expanded the most. It set, you know, very quickly. Expanded very quickly. Didn't give you a lot of working time. You've got about 10 seconds working time, so it's a bit of a gamble to use. At one point I did think, okay, next time I'll get the Tomps stuff because it expanded about the same amount of the MBFG, and it took a while longer to cure. It had more working time, which was quite nice. But yeah, it was a little bit more expensive, and I actually got the MBFG in last time because it bonds to fabric better, and I was hoping to fill some unicorn horns with it, bond them to fabric by letting it merge into it. But yeah, I don't think I'm getting the Tomps again. Because that's the 5.6, and you can see the cup there is kind of crushed. And I didn't do that. It's been sitting here for the last sort of 3 months. And as best I can tell, last time I looked on it, there was nothing out of the ordinary. And you can see that's got a sort of crinkled cauliflower-like surface. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's not in a very good state. But the really odd thing is, it looks like the Tomps stuff can implode after a period of months. And it's a good thing, you know, I didn't use this on very many horns. So, I mean, if the horns do turn out there, I will replace them, of course. I mean, no problem at all. But I don't know if they will turn out there, because I've also got another sample I did with their rigid foam. Get dirt at that. Another sample I did with their rigid. Wait, that's not the rigid foam. That's the stuff they said was rigid and turned out to be. Here we are. Here I did it with 10 grams of their rigid foam. And that's pretty much fine. There's a couple of compression dents there, so maybe it is shrinking after all, but for the most part, that Tomps one looks fine. So I don't know what's going on there. It just seems like the Tomps stuff shrinks over a period of months. So it's one to watch out for there, I'd say. Definitely, I don't think I'll be using them for that again. Yeah, it has actually started to implode. I thought this one I was going to say, no, look, it looks like it was once off and